Hello and welcome to your snack sandwich. Today I have a quick video for you on DeFiEdge. Now, DeFiEdge is an automatic liquidity manager. So basically what it does is it makes the Uniswap version 3 or concentrated liquidity positions easier for liquidity providers, okay? But it does it in a very different way than all of the other ALMs that I've looked at, okay? As you can see, there's a lot of support here for a lot of DEXs, so they're deployed on quite a few chains. So Arbitrum, Base, all of these different chains, as well as on top of all of these different DEXs that provide this concentrated liquidity positions, right? Now it's very different, okay, because what it does here is it combines two kinds of people. Let's see, where's the first one? Let's go to the white paper. So it combines investors and strategy managers into this protocol. So it doesn't have its own strategy management. It doesn't like say, oh, we are going to manage the funds for you. What it does is it allows anybody to permissionlessly become a strategy manager if they believe that they are successful and competent at managing concentrated liquidity positions. And I'll talk a little bit more about those guys in a second. And then it matches those up with investors, so investors can go and provide liquidity to those people. So you can kind of think of it like a fund manager. So, but it's all being done like permissionless and maybe even anonymous, okay? But it's quite different in the sense. So if we go through these pools, you might see it's kind of hard to kind of like check and stuff, but you might see two pools in here that are the same pools on the same DEX, and the only difference would be this strategy manager inside here, okay? So this is not a good example because these are obviously different pools, but you get my point, right? So you kind of have to do a little bit of due diligence. You can't just go, oh, what's the APR, and then ape inside there, because you kind of have to, like when you open it up, you kind of have to look and see who is this person, maybe go into the Discord, ask a little bit more questions, and then you can also open up like a kind of advanced dashboard for it and kind of go through some of the histories. And the histories are here, okay? So basically they have the choice of, you can see some like share price based over history. Now share price isn't really important. It's basically when you deposit liquidity inside, then you're issued share prices. And that price generally goes up based on fees and revenue. It starts at $100 and kind of goes up per share price, and then it kind of goes down if there's losses and stuff like this, okay? But I think more important is kind of the fees that this strategy manager has been able to accumulate over a long period of time. So the longer the time and the better this fee graph looks, then the better, right? So you can go through here and kind of take all the different metrics that you can look at. You can check like, oh, what are the ranges that are currently set, all the transaction history, the rebalances. If you understand concentrated liquidity, you may know that there are times when they have to rebalance so that they stay within range, especially when the market becomes volatility, and then the history of the fees of this person. There's a lot more data here, so I'll let you kind of explore a little bit more. I'm not going to get into everything that's for this liquidity provider, okay? And then, so that's a kind of like the overall system here, the overall idea of what this protocol does. But there are some things you have to keep in mind when you're providing to this thing. And there are some fees, okay? So there's a management fee and a performance fee, okay? So as you can see, this manager put the management fee at 0. This one here put it at 0 and 0. And this person set it at 0 and 15%. So management fee is when you deposit, then it's like a deposit fee. So when you deposit your assets, then the manager, the strategy manager, is minted a share of those tokens. So let's say you deposit enough money to get 100 share tokens, and then maybe the manager will get 1 of those tokens, or 10 of those tokens, or 50 of those tokens, depending on whatever his management fee is. And then the performance fee is what they take out of the fees that they earn. So it's like only off of profit. So it's a fee on profit, so to speak. And another cool, interesting thing is here, if you go to this one here, it says you are not whitelisted for the strategy. So the strategy managers who can actually run this thing in here in the public, and everybody can kind of know that he's doing this, but he's whitelisted the access. So maybe it's his own community or his NFT holders, or maybe I don't know who those people are that are whitelisted, but you kind of have to find out on your own who those people are. So let's go into the guides here and talk a little bit about the strategy manager, because the strategy manager cannot just take all of your money that you've put into the vault and then do whatever he wants with it. He is restricted to certain tasks or certain actions that he can do. And your funds are always custodied inside smart contracts where you can always withdraw. There's never a time when you've deposited and you cannot withdraw because the strategy manager has done something with the funds and he doesn't want you to withdraw. So you can always get your money out whenever you want, which is very good. Okay, so let's go down through this list here. So the first thing he's going to do is he can create a strategy, and like I said, he's going to name it, or whatever. He can set the initial ranges of the concentrated liquidity and set the management fee and the performance fee, and then publish it, and then it'll deploy an actual contract, like a vault contract. Okay, and as a user, so he's also can be a user, so it's inside here as well. So you can deposit into it. Now, you can deposit single-sidedly, or you can deposit both tokens that are needed, right? So like if the strategy is already deployed, then it's already opened up a Uniswap or a concentrated liquidity position, let's say ETH USDC, and it already has a set amount that it needs to add to it, right? So like if you want to add or remove liquidity, you need to add it at the right proportions, right? So if you come along with say I just want to put WETH in there, then you will put WETH into the vault and it'll kind of sit idle until the strategy user decides what to do with this. So maybe he can swap it to the correct ratios and apply it, or maybe he can hold it or something like this until he feels there's a good time to do that swap and put it in there. So there's a little bit of power you're giving to them with your money in some senses, and so you really have to do some due diligence on who is that strategy manager and his results and stuff like that, his decisions and so forth. Okay, so so it removes funds from the strategy invested in. So this is kind of like, withdrawing, right? Deploying a limit order resolver. So one of the things that he can deploy, the strategy manager, is he can deploy a limit order. Now, like let's say he has some USDC that you've given him, and it's like, oh, I don't want to use this to buy ETH right now because ETH is like up quite a bit and it's going to come back down. So he can use this this limit order to deploy your ETH into a concentrated liquidity position at a specific price or a specific tick of prices. And then when it goes through that, it'll actually automatically withdraw that position. So then he will have that amount of ETH that he needs, and then he could use it to provide liquidity. So as you can see, there's this like cancel task right here, and this kind of shows that when he deploys that asset into that limit order, we'll call it a limit order, but it's a concentrated liquidity position with a very, very tight, a single-sided constant outside of the current price, right? So he'll apply that, and then at some point it will get executed if the price goes through it, and then it'll withdraw those funds, and then he can deploy them in other ways. Okay, so adding gas for executing limit orders after resolve. So this is just him how to pay for that execution, right? Rebalance or partially rebalance the strategy. So all inside, as you can see, like it's all user interface. There's no he doesn't need to be able to code anything. He just has to go and put in the numbers that he thinks are applicable. So this is kind of just like a rebalance or partial rebalance of the strategy. So it just change the limits of those things, and you can see how like user friendly it would be if you were to be a strategy manager. Okay, so hold funds for the entire strategy. So basically he can just like, oh, I want to hold this ETH because ETH is like very like it's mooning right now. So I don't want to like sell it and try to add liquidity and then it goes out of range again, and then I'll sell it and add liquidity and try to try to keep up with the volatility that's currently happening. So at sometimes the strategy manager might decide that it's best to just hold that single asset and let it moon. And then when it starts grabbing again, then he can rebalance and deploy those assets. Okay, holding funds for a particular strategy range, uh, archiving or unarchiving a strategy. So kind of just like allow like hide it or put it like back into the public. Whitelisting investors is which I showed you before. That one strategy, you need put some wallets in there, and then they can deposit assets in there. Setting maximum assets under management. Now this is interesting. So he can set what's the maximum amount of like maybe TVL he wants in his vault, because as we all know, like if TVL goes like extremely high, then the fees are like it can only generate so many fees for such a high TVL. So he is able to do that. Accruing management. So this is basically claiming his cut of the deal, right? Swapping some tokens. So there might be a case where he needs to swap like if he's providing Matic USDC, he might need to swap some Matic for USDC, right? To kind of like, oh, I need to Matic's dumping, so let's sell it now, and then it dumps, and then we'll buy it back low. So he can kind of have some power to do that kind of stuff. And then he can do some notifications as well, and verify on Twitter. So he like I said, there was that one strategy that had the Twitter, and then you kind of have some Twitter integration here. So that wallet is verified as this strategy and this Twitter are connected and so forth. And then change strategy visibility, public or private, and hardware wallet. And as you can see, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I hope this has been. Oh, there is some more like there is some more talk in here that there are sometimes some little indicators in here that you have to keep in mind. I saw some other ones in here, but maybe I've lost them. There are some like liquidity mining as well. So I wasn't able to find anything inside the docs about the liquidity mining. Basically, let's see if I can find it. Let's click here. Here. Oh, no, this is rebasing token. Where are they? Anyhow, I can't find it, but before I saw some things here about like that this has some liquidity mining rewards. Maybe they have run out or something like that, or maybe because I'm on Arbitrum, it doesn't show. Maybe if I go to Optimism. Still don't see it. Anyhow, I did see some at one point. I did see some like some Merkle, like this Merkle app here, Merkle rewards, right? I did see an indicator here that said that there was some Merkle rewards. So in the docs, and I couldn't find out whether or not these rewards are being harvested by the strategy and kind of sold, or if they're actually more being claimable by the people who have deposited in these vaults. So that is something that you're going to have to look at yourself. If you have some time and you're interested more, you can kind of ask in their Discord or such this question. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I know I haven't really done a lot of like flowchart videos recently, but I've been finding it to be hard to do some flowchart videos for certain things. So I hope you guys are enjoying like this kind of walkthrough talk, look at the docs, look at the UI, and talk about things. It's a lot easier sometimes for me to do these kinds of videos. So I sometimes I'm going to do that. Like unless I really think that a flowchart is necessary to really understand that underlying mechanisms, or if I feel really excited about that project in that sense, then I will do those. But I'm going to try to do more videos, so I'm going to try to do them as quick as possible and as easy to access as possible. So I hope that's good enough. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.